Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Wednesday night class. Nice to see everyone. This week we're studying Parashat Emor, coming towards the end of the book of Leviticus, the book of Vayikra, and we would like to thank tonight's sponsor. Thank you very much to the Schwartz family. Avery, thank you for being on with us. We're sponsoring in memory of Yosef ben Moshe, as well as in memory of Sarah Bat Israel Aryeh HaKohen, as well as in memory of Israel Aryeh ben Rabbi Shmuel Hersh HaKohen, and also in memory of Rabbi Shmuel Hersh ben Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac HaKohen. So may all of their neshamas have an aliyah in the merit of Rabbi Heyman and Rab Shimshon Pincus, whose Torah we are studying tonight. Be'ezus Hashem. Nice to see everyone and welcome. And we're going to jump right into this week's Parsha. So, this week's Torah portion starts off with the commandments of Kohanim to not become in contact with impurity, specifically dead bodies. And there are exceptions to the rule. Exception number one is that a Kohen is allowed to come into contact with their immediate family member who has passed away, a karov, as we say in Hebrew. But then the Torah makes another special exception or prohibition, that applies to the Kohen Gadol, the high priest. Take a look at your screen. Ve'hakohen, we're in Leviticus chapter 21, verse 10. Ve'hakohen hagadol me'echav asher yutzak al rosho. And the Kohen who is elevated above his brothers, talking about the Kohen Gadol, upon whose head the anointment oil has been poured. Umilet yado dilboshta begadim, or who has been inaugurated to wear the garments. Again, we're talking about the Kohen Gadol. Et rosho lo yifrav gadav lo yifrom. He shall not leave his hair unshorn or rend his garments. Basically, he can't not cut his hair and he cannot rip his clothes. Next verse. Ve'al kol nafshot met lo yavo le'aviv u'limo lo itama. And he shall not come upon any dead bodies. He shall not defile himself for his father or for his mother. So the Torah is making a very, very clear exception and a special prohibition to the Kohen Gadol. The Kohen Gadol is not allowed to come into contact even with his immediate family members who have passed on. A regular Kohen can only come into contact with their immediate family members. A Kohen Gadol cannot come into contact with any dead body, even their immediate family members. Reb Leib says that through analyzing this special law of the Kohen Gadol, we can help ourselves to unlock the true essence of the father, the grandfather of all Kohen Gadols, of all high priests, obviously Aaron HaKohen. And we're going to learn a very, very important thing about him and hopefully his descendants who have followed. So the prohibition is a very hard one, if you think of it, to not come into contact even with your immediate family. Reb Leib says, imagine that the Kohen Gadol is in the midst of his service in the Beit HaMikdash, and he's performing the services, and then he just gets news at that moment that his father, Lo Aleinu V'Lo Alechem, passed away. A regular person would leave work, stop whatever they're doing, go and tend to the burial needs, honor their father, but not for the Kohen Gadol. Reb Leib says the Kohen Gadol, the Torah tells us, Umin HaMikdash lo yotzeh, he cannot leave the Beit HaMikdash. At that time, if he is in the middle of service, he can't walk out. He has to stay there. He can't even tend to the needs of his deceased father or mother. He has to stay there even with the most horrible and saddening news that just came to his attention. If he would be home, the Rambam says, he would have to stay home. He couldn't leave his home. So how can the Kohen Gadol be the only family member that's not present? And meaning, think of it, the Kohen Gadol is probably the greatest family member in his family. So if, God forbid, his father would pass away, so the mother's there, his other siblings are there, everyone's there except for him. Not only is he not able to be there, but picture this, he's got to continue the service that he started in the Beit HaMikdash. The Kohen Gadol does sit Shiva, Reb Leib says. The whole nation comes to console him. He doesn't sit on the floor. He does mourn his father, but he cannot come into contact with his dead body. How is this expected of the Kohen Gadol? This is what Reb Leib wants to know. How come was this law made? If this law was made by Hashem, it means that Hashem expects the Kohen Gadol to observe it. How could Hashem ever expect such a thing from a Kohen Gadol, to be so against their will and their nature to not want to be there to tend to their deceased parent? Leib says the answer lies in Aaron, who was able to separate himself from this physical world and focus way more, maybe even solely, on the spiritual world and aspects and his spiritual purpose. As the Ramban Nachmanides explains, a couple weeks ago we read in Parashat Shemini, Vayidom Aharon, that Aaron was completely silent when his two children passed, bringing their unannounced service, unannounced incense offering. They passed away. Vayidom Aaron, Aaron was silent. Aaron completely accepted. He had the ability to connect more to his neshama than his body. You see, we all have that connection. We all have that connection to our soul and our body, but almost everyone's connection to their body is way stronger than to their soul. Aaron, however's connection to his soul was stronger than the connection to his body. The Torah tells us that in every generation, there will be a descendant of Aaron who will serve as a Kohen Gadol, and he has been brought and chosen for that position because of his high level, similar to his grandfather Aaron. That this person is a representative for Am Yisrael in the Beit HaMikdash. This person has a level that is so connected to Hashem that even when he's an onen, even though he's not sitting Shiva yet, he just heard news that his father or mother has passed away, he can continue and is supposed to continue to concentrate in his service. This is how, Reb Leib says, the Torah demands from a Kohen Gadol to be so focused, because he was at that level. Now, obviously, we have to say that this is talking about only in the first Beit HaMikdash, because in the second Beit HaMikdash, the Kohen Gadols were not, meritorious and such high level. They had to pay for themselves to be at that level. It was obviously a different story. We're talking about the first Beit HaMikdash. So Reb Leib says, again, Aaron HaKohen was at this very, very high level, and every Kohen Gadol is going to follow in that footsteps of being a high Kohen Gadol. And that's how they are able to focus and still conduct the service while receiving the news that their loved one has passed away. How does this exalted level, Reb Leib wants to know, of the Kohen Gadol, fit in with what the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says, that we're supposed to be like the students of Aaron, to love peace, to pursue peace, to love all, and to bring them close to Torah? How can we be like Aaron? If we're supposed to be a student of Aaron and act like Aaron, how can we be like him? But he was so much greater than us. The answer is that Aaron's love, the root of Aaron's love, stems from his deep connection to Hashem. His love for Am Yisrael is a consequence for the connection that he has, or because of the connection that he has with Hashem. Aaron was connected to people. He had a great regard for people. He cared for people. He respected people. Why? Because he was connected to Hashem. He realized how powerful people are because they are created in God's image, and he loved them. This explains how after decades of leading the Jewish people in Egypt, Aaron doesn't even flinch when Moshe Rabbeinu comes back and is claiming that he's the leader. He was happy for him, genuinely happy for his brother. This is only because Aaron was so connected to Hashem. If this is Hashem's will, nothing could be better. It's very high level. And this was the power of subduing oneself to Hashem at such a high level. Aaron was the one who reached that level at its highest point. Based on this, we can understand why Hashem pushed or delayed the deaths of Nadav and Avihu to the inauguration of the Mishkan. It seems like they should have already passed away during Matan Torah, or their disrespect already that was shown then. Deeper story, another story, not for now. But their death should have been back at Matan Torah, and Hashem delayed it and pushed it off till the inauguration of the Mishkan. Why? Explains Reb Leib, this is because Hashem wanted everyone to see who Aaron was. He wanted everyone to see how great Aaron was, to see him continue to conduct the service right after his two sons passed away. Now, this was to prove that Aaron is not a regular person. He conducted and accepted everything from Hashem wholeheartedly. He wasn't only silent, as we said, Vayidom Aaron. Reb Leib tells us that he had a clear concentration at that point, to the point where Moshe got angry at Aaron, thinking that maybe Aaron made a mistake, and that's why this happened. Aaron calmly, right after a tragedy, answered and proved that he did not make any error. Rather, the error was of his own children. Fascinating, amazing level. So the law of a Kohen Gadol not being allowed to come into contact with their immediate family member is to prove that the Kohen Gadol's connection with his grandfather Aaron is at a very high level, which is connection to Hashem. Aaron himself fulfilled this at the inaugural day of the Mishkan. That's why Hashem wanted them to pass away then, opposed to at an earlier time. To finish off, Reb Leib says that Aaron changed his essence to a new essence, an essence of completely trusting in Hashem, connecting to Hashem, and loving all. But Aaron comes from the tribe of Levi. If so, Reb Leib wants to know, why does Aaron and his descendants, i.e. Kohanim, why are they given the opportunity to perform Pidyon Haben, to redeem the firstborn child from each and every one of us, and benefit monetarily from that, if the Meshech Chochmah says the reason why Hashem commanded us to do Pidyon Haben is to, as a kapara, to make up for the sin of Joseph's brothers who sold Joseph as a slave. Joseph was a firstborn to Rachel, so Pidyon Haben comes as a kapara to make up for that error, that sin, and Levi was definitely part of that. So how can a descendant of Levi, Aaron, be the one who is conducting this mitzvah and benefiting from the mitzvah? Based on this, Reb Leib says, Pidyon Haben wasn't given to the tribe of Levi. It was given to Aaron and his descendants, who changed the essence as a person. Aaron created what's called Bet Aharon, as we read in Tehillim, in the Hallel. He changed to a person of complete love for all, and therefore he deserved the mitzvah of Pidyon Haben, because it was the hatred and animosity that the brothers had towards Yosef which brought them to making that sin. The love that Aaron fixed and prepared for himself and made as a part of himself was the reason why he deserves Pidyon Haben. Last but not least, because of Aaron's high level that he's reached, because of the high level that Aaron reached and his future generations, B'ezrat Hashem, all of the great Kohanim Gadol to follow him, they were given the great power of tefillah, of prayer. How do we know this? We've spoken about this multiple times. We see this from the fact of the case of an inadvertent murderer, someone who killed someone by mistake. The Kohen Gadol is blamed for that murder because he did not pray hard enough that no inadvertent murders should happen. Meaning, the Kohen Gadol's tefillah had the capabilities and the power to prevent tragedies. And in the case that there would be a tragedy, he would be blamed for it. And that's why his mother would bring, the mother of the Kohen Gadol would bring food to the refugee cities to give to all the inadvertent murderers, in order that they don't pray against the Kohen Gadol, blaming the Kohen Gadol. We see that Kohen Gadol, such a high level, and this comes from their ancestor Aaron HaKohen. So we've learned an amazing lesson this evening. We've learned that what is expected from the Kohen Gadol, even though it seems far beyond what we could ever imagine, is attainable. And the Kohen Gadol, at least all the way through the end of the first Beit HaMikdash, the first temple, was able to do that. They were at that high level it comes from Aaron. So a couple different things. Look at how great a person can become, such as Aaron and his descendants. Not saying we can be that great, but we can be our greatest, our best. And secondly, we can also learn how the Torah never demands something from us that is impossible for us. Right? For us, regular people, non-Kohanim or non-Kohen Gadols, Hashem did not command us not to get in contact with a dead body or even our family members. We're not at that level. But a Kohen Gadol is at that level, and that's why it's demanded from him and not demanded from us. It means if Hashem tells us that we're not supposed to eat non-kosher or we're supposed to keep Shabbat, it means these are things that are attainable, things that we're able to do. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu bless us, that we will take this lesson and message to heart, and realize that the mitzvot that are in the Torah that do apply to us can be attained, can be fulfilled. They're meant for our good and meant for our greatest success. Amen v'amen.